very fortunate to be interviewing Nick Sue. And so Nick, I'd like you to introduce yourself, really, because you're working in a range of roles at the moment.
Yeah, definitely, May. So I guess since this is a relevant topic, ethnically, I'm actually Chinese, so my family's from Guangxi, but I happen to speak more Japanese than I do Cantonese these days, and that's a kind of a byproduct of being married to a Japanese woman who actually has a degree in Chinese. So that
Goodness, you are so complicated. But first and most importantly, you're a director of Agency 88,
yes.
But you're currently on secondment to the BNZ. Is that right?
Correct.
Right.
So Agency 88 is a specialist consultancy agency. So we work with a number of significant organisations between Asia, New Zealand, and Australia, and some private families within that.
Sure.
And then with the BNZ, we're now just heading up the Asian strategy for the BNZ now.
Right. So in terms of your own background, you're a second generation, right? You were born in New Zealand.
Correct.
Excellent. But your parents came from other places.
Yeah, my parents came directly from Guangxi, arrived here in New Zealand, and I was conceived.
Oh, wonderful. So why did they come to New Zealand?
Looking for a better opportunity.
Yeah, no,
and like most immigrants do when they first come to, when they look to other countries, but not just looking for an opportunity for themselves as individuals, but like many Asian families, whether they be Chinese or Indian or Vietnamese or Japanese, etc., looking for a better opportunity for family.
Sure, understood. So they must be very proud of what you're doing now.
Yeah, it's just my mother, to be honest, and I've got an older brother who's a surgeon or a doctor, so very different backgrounds.
No, understood. And in terms of voting, I mean, does your family, does it have a habit of voting?
Actually, yeah.
Fantastic.
Always had a habit of voting, and I
Excellent.
think that kind of leads back down to this idea that New Zealand is a democratic country, and we should really be exercising our freedom to vote and have a say in what happens in the future.
Was that always hard for your parents? I mean, you know, they weren't born here, so just to understand that very strange system of government and how it works. Even with this flag referendum, have you had to field a call from your mum, you know, what's this all about?
Not so much. My parents were always very much about, listen, we've got a responsibility to vote, because when we come to a new country, it's really important for us to integrate and understand a new culture, and to understand that in New Zealand, our voice actually counts for something, particularly with it being a smaller market. So it was always a smaller population base, so it was always made important to us that that our vote actually has a higher proportion influence than being just one of, say, for example, 120 million if I'm sitting in Japan or something, for example.
No, so that's very interesting. So you were married to a Japanese woman?
Correct.
Right. So was she born here, or is she second generation?
No, she was. She arrived here when she was 21 years old.
Ah, interesting. So she's a relatively new migrant.
Correct.
Okay. So does she find voting difficult?
No. Again, her family are farmers, but they
in New Zealand?
No,
back in Japan.
Correct.
Right.
But they are always very, again, strong in terms of having a voice and being able to exercise that voice.
Oh, interesting. So you are a very interesting family. So you've got children?
No.
No, not
Tempting, but soon. Hopefully, if the gods should look down kindly on us.
Well, I'm sure the gods will. And so when we think about the flag referendum coming up, I mean, you know, Nick, you're in marketing. I mean, how can we encourage migrants to vote? Because the participation of migrants in voting, whether it's referenda, local government elections later this year, or central government elections next year, it's never great. They don't vote much.
I think that's more of an emphasis to place more, I think, an understanding from those bodies about the significant change in the population base, and that where these people are habitating is different. Where they're consuming media is different, and so I think it's just a more considered effort to understand the importance of the population change of these people, and take an active effort in terms of finding out where these people are and how the best way it is to communicate to them and what their needs are for them to want to actually be stimulated to vote.
Understood, yeah. So if you were to talk to camera, what would you say to everybody out there who are migrants in this country and who don't vote? Definitely vote.
It's one of the liberties that we do have in coming to a country such as New Zealand, and it's very important for us to exercise that right, so take the opportunity to do so.
Excellent. Thank you, Nat.